So in this video, you're going to learn about what physics is. By the end of the video, you'll be able to explain what physics is. You might not have a clear definition, but you'll be able to talk about some of what it is. So let's go ahead and start with a few different definitions. The first two are from the dictionary. The last one is from Khan Academy, which is a math and physics video resource site that many of you are probably familiar with. So the Oxford English Dictionary says that physics is the branch of science, so we know the science, connected with the nature and properties of matter and energy. The Encyclopedia Britannica, on the other hand, says that in the broadest sense, physics, from the Greek physikos, is concerned with all aspects of nature on both the macroscopic and submicroscopic levels. So let's talk about these two definitions. That first one is pretty specific, right? We're talking about, we know that physics is a science, and we know that we are concerned with the nature and properties of matter and energy. So the issue with that is that this might be too specific. So there may be parts of physics that don't fit quite as well into this definition. That second definition, on the other hand, is very broad. So according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, physics is a something concerned with all aspects of nature on both the macroscopic and submicroscopic level. So that could be anything, right? Like a biologist is concerned with aspects of nature on a macroscopic level, that is to say, a big level, things you can see. So is a psychologist, right? Humans are an aspect of nature. So the issue with that definition is that it doesn't really tell you anything about what physics is at all. And that brings us to our third definition from Khan Academy. And Khan Academy says, to be honest, it's really difficult to define exactly what physics is. And that is how I feel as well. I started this video trying to figure out a clear definition of physics, and I realized that there really isn't a good one. If I was going to pick one, I would probably go with this Oxford English Dictionary one, just because it is specific enough to be talking about physics and broad enough that most physics fits into it. So, what is physics? Well, physics is the study of matter and energy, which is to say things that have mass and things that have either mass or motion. Physics is a method of looking at the world. So it's a method of trying to mathematically express how things interact. So mathematically express natural phenomena. So something like the Mendelian genetics that you learned in biology are not physics in that they are not mathematical. Physics is also a science, so it's a little different from math in that we are focusing on natural phenomena. So we're concerned with what the world is doing and describing how the universe looks. We're not so concerned with just solving problems on their own. But what you're probably interested in is what is physics as it relates to this class. So we are going to be studying matter and energy. So we'll be studying things that you can pick up and see and things that you can't. The two main branches of physics that we're going to be talking about are a branch called mechanics, which is the study of motion. So it's the study of how things move and why they move. And the other thing we're going to be looking at a lot is electricity, which is going to be how charges interact with each other. So there are some other topics we'll talk about, but these are going to be the two main focuses of our year. So let's go ahead and talk about takeaways. Physics is a broad field, so defining what it is hard. It's really challenging to come up with a clear definition of physics. The two main physics subtopics that we will study, however, are mechanics and electricity. And then one last thing that I want to mention, if you are going to try to define physics, you should talk about how physics really is the study of matter and energy using usually mathematical terms. So there you have it, guys. Here's a little bit of an overview of what physics is and what we'll study. Now it's your turn to dive into this with a little bit more depth. So best of luck with your research and happy solving.